Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is David Clayson. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I am watching this video from Jubilee. If you've heard of them before, they do kind of social experiments / games. And this video is 5 pastors versus 2 secret atheists. And so pastors in this one get together and they try to figure out who the 2 atheists are. So I'm going to play along with them and try to figure out if I can see who the 2 secret atheists are. This video came out a year ago. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what the results are. So you can join me along in that trip of trying to figure out who the atheists are. Hey, my eyes, I'm not on drugs. I'm in Texas and I'm dealing with allergies and it has hitting me hard. It's puffy. I've had some hives, itchy. It hasn't been fun. So that's why my eyes are like what they are like. Man, maybe I shouldn't even show the screen. I should just hide it maybe. I don't know. Anyways, here's this video. Let's get to watching.
I'm a pastor.
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 I'm a pastor. It's got 2 liars, supposed to be pastors. Not that pastors don't lie. Anyways.
So what about an introduction to start things off? My name is Jay. I'm an Episcopal priest.
I'm Don, pastor, non-denominational.
Dominic, Lutheran pastor.
Paul, youth pastor, SBC.
Paul wore a whole suit, and I was like, oh, maybe he's overcompensating. Like, I don't know what a pastor would wear on a Saturday. Maybe it's this suit.
So I'm Zach, former Calvary Chapel pastor, and now like fully Calvary guy.
Whoa! Yes.
Yeah, hence the tattoos and stuff.
My strategy is.
Do Calvary Chapel guys have tattoos always or something?
It's going to be this idea of like really trying to just hear the heart behind like why people are pastoring.
Daniel, also youth pastor, non-denominational.
I'm Anna, largely non-denominational, kind of all over the place over the years.
I mean, I have a question like education. So
Sure.
Seminary, maybe degrees, I don't know.
Seminary, theological studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where at?
King's College as well as Oxford University.
Okay. Was that like an MA or was it an MDiv or
You're
what?
drilling me in.
I know.
Absolutely drilling you in, dude.
No, your turn.
Oh, my turn.
Your turn. Yeah, man.
So
Give it to him.
So I'm in an MA program at Western Seminary currently.
I went to Calvary Chapel Bible College.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, and then did the Veritas program, so a degree in theology with a focus in biblical studies.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Actually, not really a formal institution, but I grew up in such a rural area. There was just nothing for so far. So almost more like an apprenticeship kind of context.
Yeah.
Tiny town with tinier towns around it. So we all would kind of come to the same Lutheran church primarily when I was studying.
What kind of Lutheran church?
Again, such a small area that just Luther. There's so few people to get.
Generic brand.
Yes, generic, run-of-the-mill Lutherans.
I like that.
Immediately, I thought, well, if she's a Lutheran pastor, she would definitely say which denomination she would be.
What town you?
Yes, I agree. Okay, I'm trying to understand her story. Did she just go there to study? So she wasn't necessarily Lutheran. She did say she was non-denom. But if there's a couple different denominations that they would know which denomination or which branch they are in that denomination. One of them is Lutheran because they had a big split. Then you got Methodists. I think Presbyterians would. Although Methodists had a recent split. Presbyterians, maybe. And then, well, those are the main ones anyways. You would know which branch you are in those denominations. Probably Baptist too. You would know what denomination or what branch you are in that denomination. She did say she was non-denom, studied in a rural community. Again, I pastored in a rural community for 8 years, and I don't know. You just that's off. You would know.
You grow up in?
Upper Michigan, actually, very small area.
What town?
Near Marquette. It's kind of one of the big cities around there, but
Gotcha.
it's the one that someone would know.
Anna spoke in very general terms. I don't even think she knew the city that she came from, but she knew the city that was next to the city she came from. And at that point, I was done.
You mentioned that you didn't.
Okay, I understand why she did that. So the the city I was at, not even people from North Dakota knew where the city was at. And so generally I would just say, yeah, we're up by a bigger city that was an hour and a half away, actually. And then I would name 2 smaller cities that are a little bit bigger than what our city was. And so I definitely get why she didn't say the city, because like, what's the point? You know, I'd say what it is, and then you wouldn't even know where it's at. Anyway, so I'll just tell you tell you the geography of the area so you can kind of get an idea. So I definitely understand that. But what she first said, again, not knowing what branch of Lutheran she was, she's definitely suspect.
Didn't grow up in the church,
Right,
more
yeah.
of that going around?
Sure. Okay. Totally.
So I've been there all my life, was baptized at 7 years old. I don't think I really became a believer until I was 30, to be perfectly honest. I did it because I was brought up, and this is what you're supposed to do. You do what they do and what they say, and you believe, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, and then I got kicked out.
Okay. Yeah. That gentleman, I think he just didn't have a real relationship. Then he started a real relationship. Definitely plausible story. I think Anna, is that her name? I'd vote her. I'm voting her. Let's just skip that ad.
From what I knew about Lutherans, there should have been a very specific answer to that question, and that kind of threw me off.
Yes.
ANNA. Done.
Of course, the woman's not that.
So that's
Check your bias. Bye.
Being the only woman in the group today was a little tricky. Obviously, not being able to always edge my way into the conversation was not able to present it in the way that I would have liked and that I thought would have been more effective.
That wasn't the reason you got voted out, though. Not because you're a woman, because you didn't know information about a place that you supposedly studied under.
And I was so happy that there was a female pastor, because they're the only types of people that are as rare as gay pastors like myself. It's
Okay, that's why he freaked out.
very much still new, where we're seeing queer pastors and queer worship leaders and queer Christians. Tell me,
Because it's unbiblical.
you got kicked out for why?
I got kicked out. Well, I got kicked out because I was in the church, and as I...
But that does not, that doesn't, sadly, this is sad to say, that does not put him on my radar for being the atheist, one of the atheists there, because we have denominations that are like that now, that have ministers that have non-heterosexual leanings, I guess you could say. So, yeah, but that doesn't put him on my radar for that, which is, well, it's kind of sad because it's not biblical.
I grew older in the church, I began to ask questions that to me were very obvious.
What was one of those questions?
Is baptism essential for salvation? You know, communion, you know, some of those, you know, battleground questions that oftentimes separate, you know, faiths and denominations. Yeah.
I pastored high school kids for years, and I never had any of them asking me that question.
I want to know what everybody's ministry responsibilities are and what you're currently teaching through.
Yeah, so I'm an assistant teaching pastor, and so we're replanting, revitalizing. So I'm an elder and a teaching pastor.
I serve at a small Korean church in La Mirada, California, and I take care of the youth ministry.
So I'm kind of semi-retired. I also don't have a congregation, although I work with one. It's a little Episcopal church in San Clemente. I also have a weird job that I'm chaplain to a governmental agency.
Jay answered a question about being retired, but he never indicated what he was retired from. And after years of being in ministry or serving, I thought there would have been a culmination of his life experiences, and now he's doing a part-time assistant thing. And I thought, okay, so we've slipped into some unknown factors about yourself, Jay.
I don't pastor a church. I pastor pastors. So I work for a denomination, and
Okay. I think you don't, okay. The stereotype is that, like if you pick, okay, so one of the first comments I got at my previous ministry spot was asking if I was the minister's kid. When you think about a pastor, you think about someone that is older, that has white hair, you know, and I guess Jay fits into that stereotype. I could see him, I mean, I understand what was being said there. Like, did he enter the ministry after he retired from a secular job? or was he in ministry and that's what he retired from, and now he's just doing some pulpit supply or something like that in retirement? But I don't know. I guess I'm following the stereotype. He looks like a pastor to me, you know?
I preach at different congregations every week.
I'm not in the pulpit right now, but I am teaching in small groups.
And then there's that. Okay, how technical are we getting? Because that guy sounded like an evangelist more than a pastor. So are they being that specific in the differences there, or is that all kind of under that modern day title umbrella of pastor? Because you got evangelists, missionaries, youth, kids, leaders, they all kind of fall under that pastor umbrella.
Conversations. There's a lot of dogmatic positions that are just generalized for Christendom.
So I have a question. I mean, when was the last time you were in a hospital room with somebody, and what comfort did you give them in a time that was critical?
Oh, I hate this question.
I think that someone who is in pastoral ministry, it's more than just preaching and teaching. I felt a question that would get at that about how somebody gives the comfort and the peace of the presence of God would really indicate whether or not they were a pastor and they were involved in that type of ministry.
The last time I was in the hospital was not too long ago. It was okay,
that would work well with lead pastors, but there was a few in that group that were youth pastors, and that isn't something that typically falls under their responsibility, unless the kid got hurt in sports or something like that and you're visiting him in the hospital. But usually then it's just a visit to the hospital. Or not. I think it's still pretty rare that they aren't about to die. So youth pastors wouldn't necessarily deal with that, and we have at least 2 or 3 that are in this group. So that question, I think, is based more on lead pastors. So he's thinking more about lead pastors there.
To become almost a medical proxy for a family friend's mother. She was elderly and just kind of going through, and it was very, very tender for me. But the comfort that I gave was in knowing that her family was nearby, and knowing that beyond this moment, when she stepped out of time into eternity, she would be in the place she longed to be.
I've only had to do it once, and it was very recent, and I hated it with every fiber of my being because it was for somebody that I loved, and it was a lot of waiting and quiet and very, very soft prayers and just kind of being there, and I'm shaking. I hated it.
I don't know. I will say so the guy that said he was in a Korean church that's wearing the suit hasn't talked much. The guy in the beanie didn't talk much that last round. I don't really know. I guess my 2 would be Don, who's getting voted for right now, and then the beanie guy that led the first round of discussion.
The thing that I thought I spotted was that he was just trying too hard.
The way that he was answering the questions was very old school.
Old school? Because there's no such thing as old school pastors, I guess. I don't know.
Do y'all know Jesus?
Sorry. Sorry, dude.
I see what's happening. First the woman, then the black man, the gay is next. I see what's happening.
What the devil? Me? I question everybody else left up there.
He's got some
Do
humor
they
there.
know Jesus? 'Cause I know him.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you want to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
So let's start with the question of what does atheism mean to you?
I talk to my kids a lot about agnosticism, more than I talk about atheism, just because of the oversimplification of as an atheist, I don't believe in God. Well, it's well, what is God?
I go back to what Augustine the Hippo said, right? All hearts are restless until they find rest in God. An atheist is not the enemy. It's not just because you don't believe in the God that I love and serve. Doesn't mean you're the enemy. It means that you're restless in your heart and you're trying to search for meaning and belonging in anything other than God.
I'd be curious to know if anybody on the stage that did not have a real...
Okay. I think it's a beanie guy. I am going stereotypes. What did he say he was a youth pastor? Okay, he kind of dresses like a youth pastor. Could be a worship pastor. To have that quote memorized and ready to go, I think is a sign of someone who knew what was going on coming into this video and prepared themselves for it. And this question kind of queued it up for him. So that was a really good answer, but it was almost too good. You know what I mean? So I think Beanie Guy's the other one.
Serious questioning time.
You start.
Yeah, go for
You
it.
are very quiet, and that's just a little sus to me.
What was the question?
You are the best
What brought
dressed.
you out of it? I'm a little overdressed today.
So the question was, have I ever wrestled with faith? To be honest, I wrestled more with my calling, more than my faith. My faith, once I had an experience, an encounter with God out of drug addiction, my faith was pretty solid. But with the calling, I think I wrestled countless amount of times. In high school, my parents decided to split, and that's when I really went on a frenzy with drug addiction. I struggled with crystal meth, from my junior year. I think that's what really put me to the pit of my life, the most rock bottom of my life, and the only way I could go is to look up.
So I have a question. How do we feel about eschatology?
Well, we're amillennial.
You're on millennial. Okay,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
cool.
so
Okay.
yeah, we are in the end times.
Yeah,
We were the second
totally.
Jesus said it was
Yeah,
finished.
I have a lot more openness to the on-mill position than I did. Growing up, Calvary Chapel was like hyper
Oh,
Yeah, and
dispensational.
this is a really, I'm like
Hyper dispensational,
such a
pre-mill,
sensitive
you
subject
know.
for me because of the sensationalism.
Because of your background.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and
So on-mill, that's okay. It's cool.
I wish the other Calvary Chapel guy would quiz the Beanie Guy on Calvary Chapel facts. I think the guy on the right that went to Calvary Chapel, he definitely, I believe he did. And then asking that question, I don't know. Just the Beanie Guy. I feel it seems like he went and studied stuff, and he brought up the question himself because he's like, okay, I have this information in my back pocket. Let me put it out there so that I seem more legit because I went and studied this right before this video, type of thing. I don't know. Beanie Guy. Beanie Guy.
You know, I don't expect the end time anytime soon.
I sensed maybe a little bit of woundedness that he was putting forth, and wondering if maybe that was part of what he was using as a mask there.
I think this guy.
I won't lie to you, Jay looked super familiar, and I was banking on him being a paid actor that I had seen in something before.
There was a tie. The tie is between Jay and Daniel. I will give you each on the clock 30 seconds to state your case.
You know, I don't know what to say except that I think I should have not voted for the redo. Other than that, you know, went to seminary 85 to 88, MDiv, Episcopal priest for 35 years. I thought what was going to do me in is I'm really liberal, and you guys just killed me on that. So.
Last statement. Anyways, I think he just laid out his credentials. I don't think it's either of these two that are on the block right now. I still think it's Beanie Guy.
So that's basically it.
I know what to say. I am a pastor. Please don't vote me out. It's as simple as that. I know that I've been ordained for a bit, and I'm in this like new congregation I'm really excited about. And the reason that I actually came was because I heard that there was some cash, and I was like, I really want to take the kids on like a cool trip, and so I really want to like split some of this cash for the kids in the youth group. So that's why I'm here, and I don't want to get voted out. Also, don't be homophobic in June.
I was a youth pastor, man. Like, we had budgets for that kind of stuff. Like, I didn't used to use my own personal money.
I definitely saw the heart in Jay, and I felt like Daniel was more of a presentation.
Okay, he's kind of.
I told you.
Wow.
Called it.
We're so
If
free.
the lights turn green,
the language
that
there.
means the mole is out and you win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box.
Okay. Okay. Beanie Guy. Him bringing up the comment, you know, I had a budget when I was in youth group. I think the lady was one of the moles. Let's just stay in this because we're about to find out. And is the other mole still in there? I don't think it's Jay, the older gentleman. It might be this guy next to him. He was a pastor of pastors, kind of pulpit supplier. But you don't really, you wouldn't really know that if you're an atheist. You know, I don't feel like they would necessarily be like, oh, there's pastors of pastors of this guy. What he described, the guy who came out of drug addiction. I don't know. Okay, prime suspect. The gentleman that was cursing in the private interviews. I don't know. This was tough. The atheist did a good job. Let's just find out. I guess so. I think the lady for sure. Maybe Beanie Guy. Maybe the guy that was just voted off. And then maybe the pastor of pastors. But I think Jay and I think the gentleman who came out of drug addiction. I'm terrible with names. I think they're legit.
If the lights turn red,
okay, let's find out.
It means the mole is still in the box and you lose. 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Yeah.
Nice. Good job, guys.
Can the moles please reveal themselves? 1, 2, 3.
Wow. But I'm gonna pray against the rest of
Oh yeah. My apologies, man.
Absolutely.
My apologies.
Absolutely.
And Calvary Chapel, all of that was real?
I do have a degree in theology from Calvary Chapel Baptist.
Got it.
A big part of it was a personal desire for knowledge and understanding of my own existence. So that was really what drove the course. And I wanted to feel like I was doing everything I could to get those answers.
So I have actually worked in the church for about 8 years total as a pianist and organist on and off. So I had a lot to draw from.
Here's what got me as a Lutheran.
I know what
there
it
are
is.
no general Lutherans.
Yes. That got me.
Well, no, that really is the thing. Though, is I'm from such a loosely populated area that really is the case. Is there's so little that even brings people together. There's a lot of churches that are people who are strongly Catholic, strongly Lutheran, that will all be in the same place because like a whole town will be like a gas station, a corner store, and 10 houses.
So we are very much in a turning point in the community when it comes to queer individuals in Christianity. Even though I do not subscribe to Christianity, it's great to see at least a portion of this community that has such a large history of having a negative agenda towards us as a community, opening up their eyes, admitting their wrongs, apologizing and seeking reconciliation. And I think that it can only, get better so long as they continue to move on that track.
Pastors actually think.
Okay, I didn't realize this was gonna be that kind of video. But here we are. So, okay. The Bible's clear on homosexuality being sin. And it's tough because for a lot of people, their sexual identity or the sexual orientation is their identity. And so whenever you say that homosexuality is a sin, they feel like you hate them or you're coming against them. And it's tough because let's say, okay, let's bring in liars, okay? Lying is a sin. Now, if we had people who identified as liars, like that was their life, and they became part of their identity, it doesn't change that that you see that as your identity. It doesn't stop what you're doing from being a sin just because you make it your identity. FIFA, stop. There's my cat down here with the pans. So it's tough, and this is, I know everyone that is in the LGBTQ community is like, whenever you hear a Christian say, love the sinner, hate the sin, that they just gag at that. But we look at Jesus, and he did that. You know, he loved the sinner, and he said, you know, come to me, but then he also called them out of their sin. And that was also a form of love, saying, hey, I want to have this good relationship with you. So leave the sin, repent of the sin. And so Jesus was love, but he was also, you know, he called people out of sin. He told them, go and sin no more. And so I think with this video here, you know, the reason I thought he was part of that, because of what he said right there, it's accurate in what he is saying, that Christianity generally as a whole in the United States anyways has opened up to the LGBTQ community. And the reason I brought up all of that, or the reason I was talking about like the denomination splits, and I with the lady there, I was saying, yeah, she would know which branch of Lutheran she was. It's usually because of the major ones anyways, not the Baptist church. They're doing something else, or the Baptist denomination. But Methodist, Presbyterian, Lutheran, that was one of the main issues that caused the split, that there were Christians who in those denominations that wanted to stay true to the Bible, and then there were those that wanted to accept LGBTQ issue or theology, I guess you could say, into their denomination, and so they split. So it definitely has become a thing in today's world, and you know, people are finding those teachers that will scratch their itching ears, all in the name of love, but love has been tied to acceptance, and that is not a biblical love. So yeah, let's finish this video off.
A little bit more deeply about people and their condition of their soul. And I really hope that those who view this would actually seek out that type of spiritual direction as well.
Make it rain!
Make it rain?
Oh, make it rain. All right.
Okay.
All right. We got to do it.
Yeah!
Because pastors don't get paid that much. They got to make it rain when they get the money. Yeah. No, I think overall, again, with the homosexual man there, or I believe he said he was gay. I think what kind of started tipping me off to him, because I did bring him up in my list there, was when he so freely was cursing in the privates. And so these people that were there, they didn't get to see those private interviews because it was afterwards. So good on them for figuring it out. But once he started so freely cursing, I was like, without any hesitation, that kind of threw up some red flags for me. So especially, you know, pastoring, you know. Yeah, well, interesting video. Let me know what you think. Yeah, it was interesting. That was fun. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Have a blessed day.